No, and this is this thing where, look, I'm the hope over fear guy, but Bronwyn, my issue is about a mixture of things. The people who are so spoilt that they can afford to say that those who have little, you go sit in the corner for 2 weeks, I'll be fine, I'm off to the cinema room, right? That annoys me. The endless second guessing about what decision should be made when it is, the states and territories together, a phalanx of experts around, and the Monday morning quarterbacking about what they would do when we've never been through this before. And then again, just some of that social breakdown. Look, I repeat, I am hopeful, I trust, I believe that Australians are more like the coffee owner in Darwin than the person who's spitting on someone in Sydney. But we all know, if we're being absolutely honest, we all know that if we live in a unit block, there's at least one person in the unit block who would have found the guy going into the police and pretending to have coronavirus a little bit funny.
Look, Paul, I think we're going to see some dreadful ramifications of this so-called lockdown, and if it gets worse, it will be much worse. And I think we really have to pay attention to those who say we can't let the cure be worse than the disease. It would be no benefit to our nation if we ended up with more people taking their lives than the disease takes. And what we're doing, we're not stopping people's lifestyle or people's livelihoods, we're stopping people's lives. And we're going to have people who are going to be living together. We're bound to see an increase in domestic violence.
Correct.
Where people can't get away. We're bound to see problems with teenage kids who are going to rebel. Already the older ones that are out of school have been told to get out of school, are being found congregating around in shopping centres and the like. How do you stop a 19-year-old boy or 18-year-old boy who just says, well, I'm not staying here? How do you do that? I think we are going to have to start to look at other things, like people who come off boats, planes and other things. We do have to know who is likely to be carrying that virus. And then maybe we do have to track them with their mobile phones. There are ways. I mean, that drone I was talking to you about last week has the ability to actually tell what groups of people have temperatures. We're going to have to be quite innovative, and then we're going to have to find the people who are really at risk of spreading that disease. We can't have any more mishaps like that Ruby, whatever its name is,
the Ruby
ship
Princess,
that came into Sydney.
Which has now resulted in people who've been on that, people have died.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, there's strange stories about that, how somebody who was on the ship rang Talkback Radio and said the ship speeded up and we arrived 4 hours early at 2:15 in the morning. Well, there's lots of strange things, to me, seem to be going on there, but we can't let it happen again. The airport scenes that we see where people are crushed up together, not observing. And why do we call it social distancing? We mean physical distancing. We physically got to be apart. So I think we have to be looking at ways in which we can be more targeted, because otherwise I think we are going to see some terrible ramifications. Trump understands what's at stake, not just for America but for the rest of us too. If their economy is destroyed as the owner of the currency, which is the world trading currency, to which all our currencies are tied, then we will see the whole thing crash. Now, already if you look at Russia, it's hoarding gold, trading in other currencies. We can't afford to see the whole of the Western world that we have built in the post-World War II period in particular come crashing down out of a disease that should have been curtailed when it was in China. It shouldn't have been covered up. We have to hold them responsible for that. And the fact that millions of Chinese people were allowed out to travel and take that disease worldwide is something we are going to have to deal with. So I think we're in for a very dark period, and I do think that simply telling people that they're going to be locked up for 10 weeks or whatever it is not going to be a solution.
No,
for a
there's not a lot
country
of
like ours.
social distractions that come in with all of that as well. I mean, there's no live sport. I mean, thank God for WrestleMania. Thank God for the ability to watch live news, but there's not a lot else to do.